tonight to have so little talk about the movie Justice League. We've been putting this off for a couple of weeks, but what the hell? Let's get it done and over with. Let's have a little talk about it. Now, the movie had a budget of about $300 million, made a box office of around $655 million. Now, a lot of people would think that's a big deal, but the problem is when you factor in advertising, distribution, the theaters taking their cut, it really didn't do as well as they anticipated. It didn't even break $1 billion. But let's hear what your guys' views on it. So when I go ahead and call your name, go ahead and hop in, give us your opening thoughts on the movie Justice League. Let's start at the top. Let's start with AJ this time.
Hi. Yeah, I really did not enjoy this movie. I don't know if I can even think of anything good to say about it. The Flash was highly, highly annoying. Non-stop talking and jittering around all over the place. I mean, that's what the Flash is, but not to the extent that what he was in the movie. Ben Affleck was just terrible. Him being rich is his superpower. No, that's not a superpower. That's just being rich. I'll get into more other little gripes here and there, but overall, no, I didn't enjoy this at all.
Okay, William?
I'm going to agree with AJ said. It was not a great movie, but I'm telling you straight up, I have seen a lot worse movies out there. And, maybe one time we do a review what were they like that. It's a joke like that. But the funny thing is, knowing how this movie started filming at the time that Suicide Squad popped out, there was no way that it could have been rewritten or nothing like that. But we also got to remember that in reality, this was supposed to be a two-part movie, in which was the building of the enemies of Darkseid like that, facing off the Justice League, and it should have ended with either Superman being resurrected or maybe Darkseid popping up at the end. And then the second one would have been the battle with Darkseid. I don't know why that wasn't sort of way filmed like that, but because you can't really. I'm going to have to say this: DC cannot compete with Marvel in the way they want to, because Marvel is more light and more comedic in their films. You could tell right off the bat, especially the more recent Thor movie, how more comedic it was and how it stood out, more colorful like that. That's like a lot of fans who read DC comics or even watch the animated that comes out on demand or DVD. They notice that the main story is dark. It's very dark. This is the way it should have been. It had to be dark. But they wanted to be funny, especially with certain characters that don't really be funny. Like AJ said, the Flash being funny. In other years I used to read comics, I don't remember the Flash being funny. Same thing with Aquaman. That was a total disrespect for me of him, because a lot of scenes that was filmed was not shown, especially under the water. And this movie should have been more than 2 hours. If you was going to do it instead of a two-parter and making it to one film, it has to be over 2 hours. I know one of the ideas is to make the money back that they spend, especially under the reshoots, because this director had a death in his family, and then Josh Whedon had to come in and finish it off like that. I can understand that, but the film has to run more than 2 hours. And because if you watch the movie from beginning to end, you're gonna know in certain scenes that was cut and it's not cut right, because it jumps around so much. You don't understand certain scenes like that. When the team got together, let's say in the Batcave, Alfred is there, but you never see the part because earlier he was upstairs. So you never see this part when he went downstairs and the team went into the Batmobile or nothing like that. You never saw them going in. All you saw was them pulling out and Alfred waving goodbye. You never saw nothing in between that. Just like in certain scene when you see other characters like that, certain stuff is jumping around, but you don't understand what's going on. I know a lot of fans are petitioning like crazy. They want this guy's specific version. They wanted the uncut. They want either the one that's more than 2 hours long. They want all that. But the way we recently read it online is that when the DVD comes out, it's just going to be the film version. I don't understand. I'm confused about that myself. I thought Warner Brothers wanted to make some more of their money back, so they would put in all the cut scenes back. I mean, you would get your money back that way. It seems they gave up on it. I'm totally shocked. Now, what this is going to do with the other movies that's a schedule to come out? Wonder Woman 2 is still going to get filmed because that movie made money. Suicide Squad 2 is about to start filming, so that's going to happen. I'm hearing rumor now that the Gotham City Sirens that might be delayed. That's the Shazam is still going to get filmed. The Flash film that's supposed to be a Flashpoint paradox. I'm hearing that's going to get filmed, but nobody wants it because the Warner Bros. Going to use this as an excuse to restart the DC universe and of course change certain actors to play the roles. Like Ben Affleck will probably leave as Batman. You will have another younger actor to play Batman again like that. Of course, you would keep Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman because she signed up for the second one, and of course you're going to keep Superman because that Man of Steel 2 is going to start filming in a little while. In a way, don't do the Flashpoint. If you're going to do a Flash movie, it'd be better if you do him teaming up with somebody, maybe Aquaman like that, or Cyborg. At least you would get them. You could get familiarized with those characters. Don't do a Flashpoint. Don't do that. What other movie that's supposed to be scheduled coming out or maybe announced? I heard that some other films going to be coming out. And like I said, I don't know. This movie, like you said, that the Freedom, in reality, it needed to make $800 million to break even. 800 and it didn't. I'm like, whoa, that's a lot. And then they're not the way they're doing with the DVD. That's really not going to make them make money at all. So I'm a little bit shocked about that. I'll do the other nitpick in a little while.
I know you'd think they would at least make the effort to make like an expanded cut or a super cut or something like that because you've already got all the footage sitting there. Why not just go ahead and use it? But I don't know. Okay, let's go to Beefhead.
Hello there. Yes, I mean this is a case of the most expensive moustache in movie history, to be honest with you. Because when they pulled him back to do the reshoots, they had to digitally remove the moustache. And the thing is, the problem is this is like a Franken movie. Like Will said, it's a case of you've had one director come in, and then obviously for circumstances and everything like that, his own personal circumstances, they've had to change it. But the thing is, it tested badly. And I can't be too harsh on this, because the thing is, I mean, there were faults with the two preceding movies, which were, Batman versus Superman and Man of Steel, or Hobo Superman, as I prefer to call it. That they were really dark, they were really miserable. And obviously with Suicide Squad, what you had the touches and the flashes of humour. So, you do get the impression that the humour in it has been put in by Joss Whedon, and you wonder whether the darkness and everything like that would have led to a much different tone movie, which may have actually worked out better. I enjoyed it, but it seemed like you've got all the parts to make a really good movie, but then you don't know what to do with it. So, I liked how Aquaman was. I liked how Cyborg was. I even, to be honest with you, liked what they had with Flash, to be honest with you. But they just didn't seem to be able to put it all together. You've got, a final battle, which we've seen enough of floating debris in, flying trash rings in the sky. And this was like, bits of plant and everything like that. We've seen that all before. But you've got something that in some crazy, Eastern Bloc backwater that really has no relevance to it. And there's no water to be seen, so in essence you would have wanted somewhere like on a coastal situation to make use of Aquaman having the power over water. You would have had something with that. You had the opening introduction of Batman. He moved, he looked brilliant, but you had the Flash, but they did nothing that you could say, hey, do you know what, this is something I've not seen, I've done something innovative. And there are going to be parallels that are drawn between the movie and the TV show, and they did nothing new with it. And the problem with Cyborg was it seemed rushed. The tone of it, the look of it was really good. You got the idea. It's the man versus the machine, who's in charge and everything like that. You don't know whether you can trust him. But you needed, and I think what was cut out was some of his backstory, because you don't get why he's just so angry and so bitter and resentful. Even the bit with Wonder Woman at the opening, the bank scene, apart from having a really cool slow-mo section, there's no real reason for that whole section apart from just to try and fill it in. So it was just they had all these bits and they couldn't put it together. And like Will said, it was supposed to be two movies. So you've got Steppenwolf and you're sort of like, who really? If you did get that payoff at something at the end, then it would have been something good. but it just seemed rushed, ham-fisted together, and the result was just it just was just like flashes of greatness, but nothing connecting it, and that's where it all fell apart for me. I mean, you know, you had to resurrect Superman. It would have been better to have Superman as a threat, to be honest with you, and then play it off as Batman's guilt for what happened to him. Because the thing is, what was the deal with all the Earth rising off his coffin at the end of it, but then they had to bring him back in the Kryptonian ship that you got in Batman versus Superman? Yeah, that didn't make sense. It would have been I think part of the idea was that they were trying to turn, you know, originally that they were going to make Superman part of a villain. Actually, sort of, it was Steppenwolf who was trying to bring him back, which would have made it better. It would have been better to have a threat from within, as in a threat from the exterior. And inevitably, it's hard to not draw comparisons between DC and Marvel. And the thing is, what Marvel has is you've got two guys, Batman and Superman, who will get people in the theater just on the strength of who they are. But what you have to do is you get them through the door, but you have to earn with those characters your audience's loyalty. And what they did not do was get that. They didn't give you anything to make you say, hey, you know, I've got to come back for something else after this. And if you draw the comparisons with Marvel, to be honest with you, your big characters are elsewhere. Spider-Man is with another, well, not anymore, but at that time was with someone else. Your X-Men was somewhere else. So, you know, if you think about it, you know, Doctor Strange, Iron Man, who basically their whole thing is built on, was really a second string character. But because they made you care and give a crap about these people, that was the success about it. They made a connection and people actually cared about them. And that's the big downfall into this. But yeah, we'll go into it as we go.
I know, the more I read about this movie and how it came to be, and also after watching it, I think they should have renamed it Jenga the movie. Because it was like, we've built this big tower out of all these different pieces. And like you said, let's try to take this piece out and we'll do something with it. We'll try to take this piece out until it just falls apart after a while. It's like, it's like, you know, it could have been a fantastic movie. The problem is I had never heard of Steppenwolf. I halfway expected this guy to come screaming out of nowhere, writing some demonic creature playing Born to be Wild, because that's the only Steppenwolf reference I had. You know, I was like, oh.
I forgot about that character, but I had to look it up. I said, wait a minute, was he part of? Because he's Darkseid's uncle. But by the time I was reading, but you know, that came out in the 70s. That was the New Gods. So I had to go back and find out that in reality that character is, I don't know about now, but back then he wasn't around that long. Maybe 1 or 2 issues, he got killed. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why he became. If he would have been the like just a scout like that for Darkseid, and Darkseid would have appeared, then that would have been more cool. But in reality, if you wasn't going to use Darkseid, then you should not use Steppenwolf at all. You could have used other Justice League villains that could have for this film. Especially since you chopped it under 2 hours, you might as well have them face off their evil counterparts. You know, like back then we used to watch them fight the Legion of Doom like that. So they could have easily fought that. Because they said the movie being under 2 hours made no sense using Steppenwolf, considering he's Darkseid's uncle and Darkseid didn't appear at all. So that makes no sense.
There was one thing they did right, though. Lex Luthor didn't appear in this movie at all.
In the end credits.
I cannot stand Eisenberg as Lex Luthor, but that's a whole nother movie. Like I said, I agree with Beef. It would have been a far better plot to have had, like, say, Steppenwolf, Darkseid, or whoever resurrecting Superman to use him as a soldier to wipe out the Justice League. And it would have had a lot of meaning, you know, because, you know, Batman was the one who originally fought him and all that. But just like they did with Batman versus Superman, it seemed to me like, okay, we're going to try to cram everything we can into this one production that we can fit on the film. At the same time, we're going to yank out half the stuff that, you know, that was already done. And it's like, it just seemed like a jumbled mess. I enjoyed the movie. Don't get me wrong. I still liked it, but it could have been so much better if it had been structured a bit better. It was just seemed like it was jumping all over the place for a bit. Also, I think they did a great job with Aquaman. I was very, very pleased. I was sitting there thinking, oh, great, it's the guy who talks to fish. But Jason Momoa did a very good job with the character. I got to give him that. Cyborg, I agree, was just thrown in there. You know, boom, boom, boom. Here he is. He's pissed off. He's angry. We don't really know why, because we don't have an origin. You know, a lot of people probably don't know the origin story of Cyborg. Me,
like again, because I read comics since a little. I know that Cyborg was once a member of the Teen Titans, and then later, and then like a couple, maybe like 5 years ago, he joined the Justice League. But I'm a little bit upset because you put him in the Justice League for this movie just because he's a black guy, character. Now, if he was gonna do that, then you should have came back and bring back Green Lantern.
And you did have the scene where he's in the car with his mum and his mum dies in the car crash and everything like that. So you have that. That is that, but they took it out of the movie. For some reason, I don't know why. It would have just made sense to even just have that small section in it just to put him into a bit of perspective.
As long as Mom wasn't named Martha.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I had to look it up. I forgot what her name was.
You had some really good set pieces. Do you know what I mean? You know, if you take out all the stuff that we've already said, that, you know, okay, the idea of I've got to go around, I've got to collect the pieces and all these 3 boxes and everything like that. Yeah, it's a bit sort of, we've seen this before. Why does, and you know, his idea of, oh well, I want to create my home planet on Earth. It doesn't really, you know, it's been done and it doesn't really make sense why he wants to do that. If he's acting as the herald of Darkseid, like Will was saying, you know, and especially with it being a 2-movie structure, then it makes more sense. But he just has this insane obsession with these 3 boxes. But it's also, it just seems to be, there's a lot of things that are just left hanging. And that's why it's not followed through. So you have the bit like, you know, the opening scene with Batman. He's there talking to Alfred, forgetting about this guy that he's just pulled over for a petty burglary and saying, yeah, oh, well, yeah, I'll just leave you to go and get on with it. By the way, I've just been talking to Alfred and name checking him. So, yeah, anyone with a bit of now, guy, Alfred. Oh, Bruce Wayne's got a butler called Alfred. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. When they resurrect Batman and the mother box bounces off, they just leave it on the hood of a car somewhere, so it just gets picked up. You know, there are some really good set pieces. The bit with the chase where on Themyscira, where, you know, Darkseid shows up and they're just like playing basically, you know, running with
Steppenwolf.
Yeah, Steppenwolf. Sorry, yeah. They're running with it. That looks really good. It's really effective. Even to a certain degree, you have the fighting underwater in Atlantis, and the historical flashback scene as well, which is really cool. Where
you saw Green Lantern in that one.
That's it. Yeah. When you have, and on all accounts, there was another end credit scene where Bruce Wayne's having nightmares about. That ties in with the sort of vision and the nightmare visions he was having in Batman versus Superman. He wakes up and runs and out. He meets 2 lanterns. Oh God, what's his name? Is it? What's the one? Not Bullrock or something. What's his name?
Abin-Sur?
Oh, yeah, I think that's it. There's 2 of them, but yeah.
But Abin-Sur was the one that gave it to Hal Jordan when he died. Then you had the Balrog, that was one of the big dudes.
Yeah. But yeah, that's it. That's it. He meets 2 lanterns. Now that would have been really cool. I would have thought at the end of it, to be honest with you, because then it would have given you scope for something more in the future. But it's just like, you know, you do these really, and that's one thing we've always said. Zack Snyder makes beautiful images on the screen. But the heart section where he's like back contemplating the stuff on the farm is, yeah, that's obviously a Whedon thing. But God, that drags and it's not needed. Yeah. You have wonderful, like, you know, the Themyscira chase is great and everything like that. And there's real violence and everything like that. And the flashback scene's great. But then it sort of, you counterbalance it with something that is just doesn't make sense. And it doesn't close the circle.
I'm a bit perplexed at we know who we become, what are the mother boxes are, but I don't think they explain what they are. Or their origin.
Yeah, because his mother, isn't it, is actually trapped in there. Is it is it not Hela? Because it's what's her name?
Hera?
No, Hera, I think, is trapped in the box. And there's a bit where they did have it where the boxes talk to him, but that got cut as well. Now, if the boxes talk to him and you had like some sort of controlling voice to Steppenwolf, that'd make more sense as well. But it's just sort of, it's a real Franken movie. Yeah. Obviously they say, yeah, that's it. Josh, we need you to make it funnier. You know, funny worked in Suicide Squad. The last 2 movies, they're a bit sad. Yeah, everyone gets sad about mums dying and dead mums too. Yeah, we need you to sort of up the funny. Could you do that, please? Okay. I'll try and do that. I'll tell you what, let's give him a really rubber top lip and see if that makes everyone laugh. Because it did look really bad. And the green screens on the reshoots at the Marpar and Kent's farm was bad. Never mind the fact that you would have thought that Bruce, why does Batman want the Nightcrawler? Because everything else he's got is in the shape of a bat. Why does he want this god-awful, really slow, clunky piece of crap?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. What the hell
Give
was
me
the
the
Nightcrawler?
Nightcrawler. It's so slow. It's so clunky. It serves no purpose. Get me something shaped like a bat, please.
Like a fly. that
Oh.
perplexed there. I didn't like at all the Flash's costume. I did not like that costume at all. Considering we watched the TV series, and what, you couldn't do an upgrade version of the TV series? You couldn't do an upgrade?
That's the tough thing. They've done a really good thing with the TV series because it's all about story. It's got a really good combination of story, heroism, and heart, and they've done some really good things with it. And they've done nothing new to make you want to see the cinema one over the TV one. Yeah, apart from that's it. We've just seen, hey, I can run really fast. Yeah, I can talk a lot. Do you know what? The best thing about Flash, I would say, for me, was the casting, to be honest with you, because I didn't really rate Ezra Miller. He's, don't get me wrong, I'm an old man and everything like that, and he's obviously an emo choice that's hip with the kids. But he actually made it quite engaging, and I think that's how he did it, how he played it. I liked the jitteriness of it. I like the unsurety and everything like that he sort of doesn't quite know what he's doing. He runs fast and pushes people. But one of the great bits was the Batman sort of idea of guilt. You save one person and everything like that. I would have liked to have seen a bit more of that sort of thing from Batman, that there was that sort of survivor guilt, because by the end of it, he's sort of like, he's basically on suicide watch, to be honest with you, because he's prepared to go and kill himself because he feels so guilty of what he's done. He wants to bring Superman back or save the planet and everything like that at the cost of his own life, because he feels he's done this great disservice to the world and must save it in some way, even if it takes his own life. And that's how, he's a billionaire who dresses up as a bat and everyone like that because he's got, survivor guilt over his family. So it sort of does make sense that you have this craziness that he's the one non-powered guy amongst these gods who walk the earth and everything like that. But you just don't follow through with it. And I think, like we've said, Zack Snyder would have actually followed through with it. I didn't like Hobo Superman from the first one. Yeah, there was a lot wrong with the last one. But maybe if this one had been left intact, it would have probably made sense, because he probably had a plan that would have all figured out in the end. That's
okay, AJ, you've been kind of quiet. What do you got to throw in on this?
Just Steppenwolf. To me, he seemed a lot like Loki going after the cube.
Cosmic Cube.
Yeah, that's what I felt like from the beginning of the movie. But also that scene where they resurrect Superman, he's like floating in the sky and all that. Everyone's just calling out Clark this, Clark that. Yeah, use his real name, Earth name in front of everyone. You got the police all around you and everything. Everyone's going to know who he is now, because his secret identity.
I know they did kind of do that, yeah.
Yeah, that's one thing that really drove me nuts. The Flash, just like I said before, completely useless as far as I'm concerned. I mean, compared the scenes with his dad and all that. I mean, because you had the heart like from the TV series, like Beef was saying, but this, I felt no connection between the two. Like, they were just sort of looking at each other and smiling. I mean, if I was to visit my dad in prison, I mean, I'd be like really bad about it, like, I hate being here, but I'm here to see you anyway. It was jokey and having laughs. Like, that's not real as far as
although I did like Jimmy Olsen was the prison guard.
And one thing I thought was funny, the casting for Cyborg's dad. The guy who created Cyberdyne in Terminator 2.
Yeah.
I suppose, yeah.
I thought, yep, Terminator.
You've really done it now.
Yeah, well, it was Tomar and Kilowog who were the lanterns that visit Bruce at the end in one of the cutscenes. That would have been great.
I don't know why it was cut out. I'm perplexed why they're not adding those scenes to the DVD. That makes no sense.
Mm.
I mean, no.
On the one thing that this film has done, I would say on a good side, it was going to happen anyway, but because, you know, DC, this is going back a couple of years in the run-up to all of this, they did a huge slate of movies, which was going to be like every DC movie for the next 20 years, going, you're going to have Cyborg 1, Cyborg 2, and everything like that, is that, you know, you are going to get a Flash movie. I think that will work. They did, the one couple of things that they did do with Flash was that they did a good bit with the bit after Superman has been resurrected, and he's there fighting, you know, Diana, you know, and Aquaman. And there's the bit where he's running, and then you see his, you know, see him turn around and clock them, and then you have this idea that Superman is sort of, he's something, yeah, virtually unbeatable, to be honest with you. Yeah, if they had gone for the idea that it's a threat within Superman and everything like that, yeah, I would have liked to have seen a bit more. They could have done something then that Batman has files on everyone on how to take them down, because we've already seen that with Superman, and that's something that he already intimated in one part in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there are aspects. Yeah, Aquaman, that movie's going to come, and to be honest with
you,
you,
it's supposed to come out this year, so it's
yeah,
already done there.
That's going to be good because, you know, you saw Mira, you saw, yeah, I think you would have had the cutscenes had more characters in it. It had Orm, and it had his other counsel, Willem Dafoe's character. So yeah, there's something that's going to show up. It's going to be good.
Because I remember when they did that in one of the animated features where suddenly all the members of the Justice League are getting taken down in these really, really weird ways. And then they come to find out someone had broken into the Bat computer. And it was all the Batman scenarios for taking out the other members in case, you know, they were compromised.
It was Ra's Ghul.
Yeah, that would have been really, really good because, you know, that would have been an interesting storyline to follow as well.
They could do that. I could do that if they could do maybe the third. The second one, I got a funny feeling. Just I don't know how they're gonna do it. They're gonna end up fighting, like they said, the Legion of Doom, or maybe another updated version of the Suicide Squad. But if they do a third one, that would be an interesting plot. That Ra's al Ghul steals that thing from Batman, so that'd be a good movie to watch.
Yeah, the big problem though is because this movie did not make as much as anticipated or anything like that. It kind of puts a sequel in doubt. You see, the problem is what happened. Marvel played the long game, and it paid off big. It paid off bigger than they ever anticipated. The problem is now here comes along DC. They're trying to play catch up. That's what it feels like to me. They're trying to let's try to get caught up to Marvel in as few movies as we can. Because Justice League, yeah, like everybody said, was supposed to be a 2-part feature. And now all of a sudden, okay, no, we're going to slam it all together into one movie. Then we're going to throw out like Flashpoint. Then we're going to throw it's like, why are you throwing out Flashpoint when you haven't even done an origin story for Barry Allen on the screen yet? It's like, sure, it's great that you have a television series and so most people already know if they've been watching the television series, but as they said, now the television series has nothing to do with the movies. So I don't know. It's just weird to me. Plus, you know, even the Batman movie is up in a chaotic mess because first they stepped in and they said, okay, they're going to say, all right, Ben, you can direct the movie, you can write the movie. Then it was, no, Ben, no, we're bringing in another director. Then it's, Ben, guess what? We're throwing out your script and we're writing another one. And now it's Ben may not even be playing Batman anymore. That's even in doubt at this point because he's getting PO'd. So it just seems like they've tried to run this thing at light speed to get caught up to the Marvel franchises, and it's really, really going to cost them in the long run. At least that's what I'm, getting as an observer.
Lucky for Warner, but the Wonder Woman was a hit, so they made money for like that. But and they're going to do a second one. Hopefully, Aquaman. It's directed by James Wan. I mean, he's a well-known director, so I'm hearing good things about him. And now because of this shenanigans, that now they did what Marvel has. But Marvel has just one guy that's in charge of all of their movies. So now finally, Warner Brothers now hired this. I forgot his name. Who was in charge of all their horror films that made money, that was making money like crazy. So now they got him to be in charge of the DCEU. But knowing that we already heard about supposedly a Flashpoint movie, and I don't know what the plot is for Man of Steel 2 like that. Hopefully he could step in and say, look, we gotta fix this. We cannot do a Flashpoint. Because if you do a Flashpoint, that means everything else that came out already, it wasn't worth doing it. And you're admitting it too by doing a Flashpoint. So all you gotta do is don't do another Justice League for a while. Just do single movies, introduce these characters, and then maybe you could do maybe in one of these characters' films somebody could appear like that. And
Plus, DC seems to forget there's a lot of other interesting characters out there besides sticking with the big basics that you could have thrown in and done movies for. Sure, the Green Lantern thing fell apart, but come on, throw me an interesting one, William. They could have done a movie for because he's say a key member of the Justice League that got left out.
Well, Martian Manhunter, Hawkman, or Hawkwoman, and I mean, you only had one woman, and then of course that team had a bunch of female in the team, so that's weird. You only had one. I mean, Mira appeared, but she's not. I mean, she's not a member of the team, so that's weird.
So see, right there was all. Instead of trying to catch up to Marvel and doing the team up movies, there was all these other interesting characters they could have thrown out there first. Then you go to your team up movie, and that's exactly what Marvel's kind of done because we got Infinity War coming out, which is going to combine just about every damn thing. Matter of fact, word is it's even going to have Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in it.
That's what I'm
So it's like this. I remember one character, I think it was Scarlett Johansson, made a reference that there's one scene she's in where there's 32 different Marvel characters in it with her. And yet, like I said, DC just seems to be trying to play catch up, and they're missing a whole lot of other characters along the way that could do very, very well in the theater if they have a good story written for them. On top of what we've already had established. Get a good writer for the movie is what I mean. And I think they shouldn't have done a team up movie just this fast. Like we said with Batman versus Superman, it turned into Batman versus Superman versus Lex Luthor versus what's his name versus Wayne. It just they threw too much into that movie, and it just seems to me that if they'd taken their time, then do a team up movie, do it right. Matter of fact, Infinity War is going to be 2 parts. This movie was supposed to be 2 parts. But it just okay, no, we got to get it out now. We got to get it all out now. It's like, let's get out like a big poo. No, it just didn't work. Like I said, I enjoyed the movie personally, but overall, it's on shaky ground.
Yeah, that's it. You watch it by the end of it, and you say, "I like it," but I'm not quite sure why I like it. And I think it is. It's a case of that. That's been the big downfalling for me all the way along. Is that, and this is where things went bad with Batman before, is that they've just traded on people's affinity or liking for a character. We like Batman, so we'll go and see it. But what you have to do is, right, you've got me there, but now you have to, pay me. You have to earn my loyalty and my willingness to come back and watch this film more than once, more than twice. And it's, you can do, big spectacular threats and things coming from space and everything like that. But if you take it down and make it smaller, sometimes that is a good thing. If you have a character piece to it, then you get that emotional connection and investment to the character, which was what will make you come back. Otherwise, look what happened when they tried, you went from 89 Batman to what we had. And then you couldn't touch Batman for a very, very long time.
But like you said, Marvel started out with Iron Man, and Iron Man, like everybody said, was supposed to be like he's kind of like a side character. But the thing is, it was the writing, Robert Downey Jr.'s performances, and all that built the foundation, which led to the Avengers. But here, it's like they're just trying to get everything thrown out there at once so they can catch up. Like, I'm sorry, Superman, Man of Steel. Let's not even go into my issues with that movie. Let's see. Or Clark, don't save me, or everyone. Oh well, we all know about that, the whole tornado debacle. But you see, it just seems to me like they're just trying to rush, and there's bits that are really good that are getting out there, but there's a lot of great stuff that's being thrown out on the cutting room floor and forgotten. It's just like in their haste makes waste. It just really, really seems to be echoing in my head whenever I watch the DC movies. We've got to catch up with Marvel. We've got to catch up with Marvel. Ugh. Anybody else?
Well, hopefully when the I think there's 2 DC movies coming out this year. You got the Aquaman and I don't know what the other one might be. I can't remember off the top of my head.
And I must cry discrimination. Where was Apache Chief? No. Sorry, that was a Super Friends reference. Oh, okay.
But hopefully Aquaman would be a good movie for them. But the thing is, it's gonna have competition because Disney Marvel is gonna have what? You got the Black Panther, the Avengers, Ant-Man, the Wasp, at least those 3 coming out. And then later on in the year, they got an animated Spider-Man coming out too. So,
and these are characters who, if you think right back to when it was Iron Man and say, "Hey, do you think we could make an Ant-Man movie?" People would laugh at you because you think, "Oh no, it just won't." Yeah, Guardians, who, what? Yeah, I'll just take anything and make a movie out of it. But it is they make you care about the characters, and that's the secret to it. Is there's got to be heart to it, but it's just struggling to find balance. And Josh Whedon, hey, that's a great, Marvel let him go, and DC thought, hey, we'll get him. He'll be the guy, the magic guy who made Avengers. He'll make our Justice League work. They maybe shouldn't have been so reactionary or so panicky, and maybe say, do you know what? Let's just let this one ride and see where we go with it. If it works, then great. If it doesn't, we'll just do solo movies and we'll forget about the team up thing for a long time. And that would have been, I think, maybe the best thing to go for.
Well, the thing is, if they're gonna do another team up movie, the one they should do is Justice League Dark, because it's gonna be dark and it's horror, and it got characters, that's weird and unusual. So you're gonna be into these characters. Don't do the Justice League. Do the Justice League Dark.
Yeah, because if this isn't working, there's another direction you can go. If because the supernatural thing is still playing out pretty well. You can get into spooks, ghouls, goblins, and all that if you really want to. But like I said, it's kind of weird to me because it seems to me like the DC animated movies are doing really, really well. They got really good storytelling, but this one was like, let's throw as much mud on the wall and see what sticks. It was just jumbled together. And now the thing is, we all have to understand that Zack Snyder had to leave the movie, for a personal tragedy. Mm-hmm. But instead of saying, okay, let's shut down production for a couple of weeks, let him mourn, and then see if he's ready to come back to the project, then no, they were in such a hurry to get this thing out. They ran off. Let's hire another director who has to pick up the pieces, try to put it all back together again. And it
wasn't just that. They tested it and played it to DC execs, and they looked at it and said, we don't like it, fix it. And that was the criticism, that it was too dark, that there wasn't the humor in it that worked. So Snyder didn't even have time to fight his corner or fix it. That was the tragic thing. So there was a film ready to go, and on all accounts, from the people that saw it, who had to sign NDAs and stuff like that, it was a better movie than what we got.
Yeah, it's almost reminding me of what happened with Richard Donner. Remember back in the day with the original?
It's exactly like that.
It's like it's echoing all over again, Okay. You want to throw anything else in, AJ? You've been kind of quiet for a little bit here.
Sorry. No, I'm just going through my notes. Like at the end of the movie when they've, done with the battle and all that, and you got those alien plants growing up around the power plant. Is that even a good thing to have alien life forms like that on Earth?
I never thought it.
Unless they go back to it and see something happens out of it.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, you got these alien plants are on Earth. They're going to ruin the ecosystem.
I think it's the guess. I suppose it's the guess. It's the idea that it's life, and it's brought life to an area that was completely dead or whatever. Yeah. But why have it in Durkistan for no point? I have no
idea. One other point is also, what the hell gives Batman the right to resurrect Superman and pull him out of his afterlife where he could have been peaceful or happy or whatever? But Batman being selfish for his own reasons. I did this. I'm a bad person. I'm going to make it right by bringing him back. What gives him the right? It's like in season 5 or 6 of Buffy when she died for the final time, and they brought her back, and she's like, "I was in heaven. I was happy."
But that's a weird thing that Superman never mentioned anything like where he was like that, or he remembers anything after he died. So they didn't bring that up.
Yeah.
But at least I remember one good scene out of this whole, the one scene that I did really enjoy the little race scene with him and the Flash that they threw in.
The world's finest reference.
Yeah, that was a cute little scene they threw in for shits and giggles. So I got to give them kudos on that. That was enjoyable. Oh well, folks. Anything else before we wrap it up?
No, I'm good.
Okay, I think we've ran around the bases enough times. Let's go ahead and we'll rate this sucker and put it to bed. All right, Beef, out of 10, what do you give Justice League?
I'm going to have to give it a 5.5. The thing is, all the stuff that looked quite sexy and everything like that you had in the trailer is stuff that got cut. So there's no bit where, Superman shows up and it's like, thank God you've come. There's none of that. I like the fact now that they've got rid of the muted tones and Superman's back in the bright colors and everything like that. And it's if you do solo movies now, that's going to be good. But yeah, it's like I say, there wasn't enough putting it together. So many loose ends, so many things left unattended. It's a mess.
Okay, William?
Well, I want to say 2/3 of the movie was good, so I'm going to give it a 6.6. Hopefully, they learn from this and let them do Justice League Dark.
All right, AJ?
Yeah, I'm going to give this a 4 out of 10. I didn't like it. The Flash's outfit was ridiculous. It looked like a reject from the Power Rangers movie. And he had blue lightning. I mean, we all know that the Flash has orange lightning. So, yeah.
There's a reason for that, because the faster his speeds get, the lighter the color it is.
Oh, okay.
So him being blue shouldn't be blue. He's not that fast yet. Should not be blue yet.
Because I think they did that in the TV series as well, where after he got to such and such a speed, going against Zoom, it started changing color or something like that.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to be very generous. I'm going to give it a 6. Because for the most part, while I did enjoy the movie, it just seemed like there were great things that they could have done. There were scenes that, were left on the cutting room floor that would have really, brought this thing up even further, make it even more enjoyable. But at the same time, there were still a few scenes here and there that kept it going enough that at least I didn't go, I'll give it that much. Oh, hey, folks. Well, join us in a couple of weeks. We haven't decided a topic yet, but we will by then. So until then, take care. Ta-ta. Enjoy the rest of your evening. See you on the flip side.
Yep.
Hasta la vista.